What's up, superfans? It is Fit Nerd from Superheroes Ultimate. Welcome to another episode of Heroes Finest, where we discuss, review, and reveal all the latest and the greatest in the superhero realm. And today we're going to be discussing everything and break down the new Suicide Squad by James Gunn. As always, this is your fair warning. There are going to be spoilers ahead, so if you have not seen the movie yet or plan on seeing it on August 6th when it releases in theaters and on HBO Max, then I recommend that you go and check out our last video, which is the non-spoiler review, where I share many of my thoughts. Now, without further ado, let's talk about Task Force X, also known as the Suicide Squad.
So this is the famous Suicide Squad.
Now, of course, with this being the Suicide Squad, this team is united by a group of individuals that are basically criminals, villains, and psychopaths that are expendable, according to Amanda Waller. They may not last the whole movie. And the marketing has been absolutely great, because if we look at one of the latest tweets on the Suicide Squad Twitter, they posted up this beautiful work of art which says, "Don't get too attached," and that is very, very true for the characters of this movie.
Everybody died.
Now, from what we saw in the trailer, which is pretty badass, we saw a lot of the main characters and characters that we saw from the original Suicide Squad. And as I stated in the non-spoiler review, this is technically just another story of the Suicide Squad. It's not another movie, it's not a reboot, it's not a sequel, it's just literally another chapter. It's like saying another adventure for these heroes. It was a very wise decision to keep out the actors, which allows it to not disregard the first movie. It all happened, they did fight Enchantress, and now we just simply have another group on another mission by Amanda Waller, because she likes to pick out all of these weirdos.
No funny business.
Speaking about Amanda Waller, technically she falls in borderline of what a villain really is, because she is really cold as far as getting her missions done and not caring who gets hurt along the way or who dies along the way just to complete the mission at hand. She does not go by the hero moral compass, and she definitely goes past that line many times over.
No funny business.
And I do like the newest trend that I've been noticing, that DC movies are becoming more standalone movies. And this is a perfect example of a good, really good DC standalone movie. You don't necessarily have to go back and watch the original Suicide Squad to tie in or make any type of connections to this one. You could watch either or separately, and they're completely different stories of their own.
I hope so.
But if I do have a choice and preference as to which Suicide Squad was better, I mean, there is no competition whatsoever between the two, because this one had James Gunn behind the helm with zero filter. He had total creative ability and free range to do as he wished with a very large roster of DC characters. And the fact that a lot of them die.
You die.
Yeah, spoiler alert. A lot of them die in this movie, and not so far into the movie. They die like literally right at the beginning. You just see them getting hammered.
You die.
You are seeing these characters getting killed left and right.
You die.
And you're laughing about it. It's the oddest thing, but it's like a really crude humor type of thing, and I love it. Of course, one of the main characters that has been seen throughout several movies now, with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, I want to focus and highlight her a little bit more, because she was really highlighted in this movie in the most fantastic of ways.
It's like angels are splooching all over us.
Her fight scene, escaping when she was captured, was freaking dope, showing off some of her meta strength. She did fall into a acid bath and became the character of Harley Quinn, which may have given her super strength. And it was shown when she was hanging onto the chains and grabbed the guy's throat with her legs in a figure 4 mode and just did a complete pull-up, holding up this like at least 200-pound dude, and broke his damn neck.
You die.
So showing off her skill set, her strengths, and her craziness that Milton scene was just priceless because she technically called this dude Milton and didn't know who the hell Milton was, really highlighted all of the qualities that make Harley Quinn Harley Quinn. This movie did a fantastic job showing us the Harley Quinn we've always wanted to see. In my opinion, this is an awesome on-screen Harley Quinn.
I hope so.
And then we got characters like Nathan Fillion, we've got Pete Davidson of Blackguard, we've got Michael Rooker, which obviously we know from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies as Yondu, and he has a very good friendship with James Gunn, so he was in this movie as Brian Durlin. And the most that he did of ass-kicking in this movie was kill a little tiny canary, which definitely got his revenge when Michael Rooker's head was blown off, and then the scene of the canary going in there and just biting off a piece of his head. And then it is so genius to keep main characters from the first movie that were actually very good, such as Amanda Waller and Flag and Harley Quinn. These were known characters that were just very popular from the first movie, even though the first movie was okay. These characters really got to shine. And speaking about characters shining or being highlighted, each one of them was very well portioned out in giving us a little bit more origin to them that we actually felt for them. And don't get too attached. Many of them just will not make it.
Everybody died.
And we just have to talk about Peacemaker's Peacemaker. Okay? Him in his tidy whities and his ginormous Gigantor bulge was freaking hilarious. I really love John Cena's character as the Peacemaker, and I'm so happy that we're going to see an entire series of John Cena as the Peacemaker. Hopefully it will evolve him quite a bit, kind of like a Loki thing, although I don't want to trip into the Marvel cinematic stuff in here because, as we all know, DC is a little bit darker in nature. This movie is very dark humor, and it is kind of an acquired taste. If you guys are very hardcore Marvel fans and like the goody stuff, then just go watch Guardians of the Galaxy. But if you like the hardcore stuff, this is the movie for you.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dick and somebody said I'd eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problem.
And Javelin with his javelin being passed down to Harley Quinn, and it's what the hell was the real reason, and connecting it to the end of the movie was actually pretty dope. Now, as far as my favorite characters on this roster, besides Harley Quinn, obviously, is King Shark, played by Sylvester Stallone.
Num num.
Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2, and Ratcatcher 1, because Ratcatcher 1 is actually pretty significant in the tiniest bit of scenes and still made quite a good impact as far as the story about Ratcatcher 2. And Idris Elba's Bloodsport. Bloodsport, yes, he may be a copy and paste version of Deadshot from the first Suicide Squad movie, but the main difference is the whole dynamic and the relationship between him and his daughter. He really just doesn't give a crap.
That's patronizing.
And then you end up feeling some emotion over King Shark and his loneliness and ability to make friends because he almost ate Ratcatcher at some point, and it was only because of his acquired taste of human flesh. And throughout the movie, we actually get to see this character evolve to having friends and caring for them, which is pretty dope. And the fact that they chose the character design from the Harley Quinn animated show is freaking awesome, because I really love the animated version of King Shark, so maybe it might be possible to actually make him a little bit smarter as time goes. If there is going to be another Suicide Squad movie past this and directed by James Gunn, hopefully he will get smarter and smarter.
Bird.
Now, Ratcatcher 2's father was portrayed by none other than Taika Waititi, which is also known as Korg, which is also the director of Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder. I gotta admit, this man is just a jack of all trades, and the very few scenes that we actually see him with the younger version of Cleo, the Ratcatcher 2, really left an amazing impact towards the end of the movie, where she basically comes in and saves the day with all of the rats and gave him the purpose. So it came full circle. As I said, each one of these characters had such a cool story arc within this single movie without being completely cluttered. And I will be very surprised if I go to the next Comic-Cons in the future and not see people cosplaying Polka Dot Man, because I'm pretty sure that there is a fan base now for Polka Dot Man, one of the most useless of all DC characters, as James Gunn has stated in previous interviews. But now I actually got some love for Polka Dot Man.
I hope so.
Especially knowing his origin, which not many people knew who the hell Polka Dot Man is, or what his powers were, which by the way, his powers totally kick ass and destroy and obliterate people when he shoots out those polka dot things out of him. As far as ratings for this movie goes, currently on IMDb it is an 8.2. On Rotten Tomatoes it was 100%, but now it has lowered to 96%, which is still certified fresh, and I must agree with this. Now there are a few characters that I actually wanted to see a little bit more of, and that is from the trailers. We saw Weasel. I really wanted, I know it was hilarious to see him just drowning, and how the fact that they asked if everyone can swim or if Weasel could swim, and obviously they did not. But from the looks of it, from the end of the movie where we see him actually survive, I'm hoping we see more of him.
He's not harmless. He's killed 27 children.
And I also wanted to see a bit more of Captain Boomerang. I really loved his character in the first movie, and in this one, I really hoped he would survive. But clearly, this is the Suicide Squad. Any of them are not gonna make it, and pretty much everyone died towards the end of this movie.
You died.
I also wanted to see a little bit more of the Thinker as well, but the little bit that we did see him in the movie did serve a purpose towards the final plot of the movie. And I'm not even upset about the fact that they used Starro as one of the main villains.
We've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit!
Utilizing the villain of Starro, which nearly killed the Justice League in the comics. Starro is one of the early villains that the Justice League have faced, and nearly killed them. He nearly successfully killed the entire Justice League. It gave him a really hell of a fight. But after seeing the film and seeing Starro here, I feel like seeing it in an unfiltered way was so much cooler to see him versus the Suicide Squad instead of the Justice League, because it would have been held back with all of the goriness or violent scenes. This Starro is a definite win for me. The Freedom Fighters, which were wiped out by the good guys, not knowing that they were the good guys, freaking hilarious. Now the way the end credit was done with Weasel waking up and surviving, and then the Peacemaker surviving as well, as we know he is going to have his own series on HBO Max, was all left in the way that after that series it may just lead into another Suicide Squad movie.
I hope so.
So what do you guys think? Have you seen the movie yet? Are you gonna go see the movie? And if you are gonna see the movie, I do suggest go to the IMAX, because this movie was filmed with IMAX cameras. You're gonna get a better experience seeing it in IMAX. There you go, superfans. James Gunn knocked it out of the park. The whole cast knocked it out of the park. And I can't wait to see this movie again, but with the IMAX experience. As always, superfans, if you want to show some support for the channel and get some official merch, which includes t-shirts, tank tops, mugs, totes, stickers, face masks, and so much more. So if you want to check out some of our latest official merch or some collectibles and apparel, I'll place the links in the description below. And if you liked what you saw here today, don't forget to smash the subscribe button, give us a like, turn on the notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next. This is Fit Nerd, over and out.